I think Republicans can only win in general if they become more live and let live. Leave me alone. The leave me alone, Grover Norquist will talk about this sometimes, this leave me alone coalition. But the coalition, in order to work, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, they say, oh, well, we want Republicans just to be the pro-choice, pro-gay marriage party. It may not be that, but it may be that there will be people in the Republican Party who have those positions and some who don't, and that we kind of all get along because we believe in limited government, and then we acknowledge, you know what, maybe the federal government's not going to be involved in some of these issues anyway. And I think that live and live, agree to disagree kind of amalgamation of people in the party will allow us to be big enough to win.
As we drive headlong into that dark and mysterious night of midterms and then prepare for a sharp turn into the presidential election cycle, politicians and their handlers of every stripe are looking for that group of voters who can turn the election in their favor, with or without the favors. And as Rand Paul continues to lead the way in many minds for the Republican shot, he may have hit upon a group of people most of us would never think about, and it's where he found them that is indeed more than a little fascinating. Welcome to MidPoint. The chairman and CEO of Patriarch Equity and DigitalMarketing.com, Eric Schiffer, joins us again on the show. Eric, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ed.
Look at this. Rand Paul going to Northern California into Silicon Valley to talk to the techies, and I say this with love, the nerds that are there. I got to tell you, the guy's pretty smart, isn't he?
He is very smart. He is tapping a niche that many people, especially in the party, wouldn't think would be relevant today, but they are, and there's many reasons for it. When you consider that, you know, this NSA problem has reached far and wide, and one of the biggest areas that it's reached is the pocketbook, and a lot of people don't think about that. But many in Silicon Valley have been affected by those in China and those in Germany, large vendors, large companies that traditionally would purchase significant amounts of things in the billions of dollars, who are saying, wait a minute, I think I may want to look elsewhere. I'm irritated by what's going on in the political spectrum and with respect to the NSA, and I don't necessarily want to give the dollars to these US companies. And then governments are also putting some pressure on, especially in China. So we're seeing a backlash on an economic front, which makes someone like Rand, who was forward thinking on all these things and has always been one who's saying, you know, enough is enough with respect to government's reach, especially on the NSA side. It makes them want to support a candidate like that who's libertarian anyway, and there are many libertarians in the Bay Area, and especially in Silicon Valley, and those on the conservative side who are liberty oriented are taking a really strong look at this guy.
Well, this is something else, and it came out of KPIX Channel 5 in San Jose, and I thought it was a really good term. First time I saw it, I'm sure it's been out there, conservatarianism, where they're talking about the techies are the ones who want to take something from conservatism and then libertarianism. Is it really possible, though, to mix those two together and be successful?
I think you can for specific candidates, absolutely. Look, politics on these choices are typically, you're picking someone who's least of the worst, unfortunately, and in these situations, you're looking for someone who's going to be supportive of you on an economic front, who certainly is not going to make the same types of mistakes that would alienate large spenders and people that would traditionally be buying your products in the billions of dollars. And then also, you want someone that falls into that camp that's really about liberty and freedom, and not having government going too far into the private lives of individuals. So yes, I think that, for the first time, there's an opportunity for him in this traditionally, democratic enclave.
Is it, and you mentioned least of the worst here, can we take that, and maybe for the techies here and the whole Silicon Valley crowd, and say it would be a mix of least of the worst, but also they'll look at a guy like Rand Paul because he's a little younger and he might actually get it when it comes to their generation and what they're trying to do and what the entire industry is doing globally?
Well, Ed, you hit on the right point. He does get it. I mean, this is a guy who understands technology, who embraces technology, who understands the government can actually benefit from technology. When you have Uber and you have Yelp and you have all these sites that traditionally people go to that are used to reviewing things, that they want more of this kind of interactivity and the ability to have better service. And government has not truly embraced to the highest levels what technology can do. And so he sees an opportunity to be able to take the best minds of Silicon Valley. And also, you know, there's an opportunity for him to tap some of those minds that previously were involved on the Obama campaign. I mean, one of the reasons that Obama did so well in those 2 elections was their ability to access big data and their ability to leverage the best of the best on the digital marketing side and internet marketing side and anything digital to be able to influence you know, the constituents that were on the fence. And the Republicans want that. In fact, there was a recent conference that he spoke at on that, you know, where that whole topic and focus was oriented around, which is how do we merge the best of the best minds on the technical side and bring it to the campaigns.
Do we have to make sure that we don't miss out here on the dollar signs as well? Because let's face it, what's happening and what's happening from China and a lot of the NSA's incursion, it still has a point of customer confidence here. So we're still looking at the Googles, the Yahoos, the people like that who are still looking at ways to make millions and billions of dollars and make sure that they've got a guy in the White House who's protecting them on that as well. Keep the customer happy.
Well, look, all politics are local, and certainly with Silicon Valley, you know, this is about money. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, largely, but I think there also is a balance to it. I think there are many people in Silicon Valley that also believe in social causes, but most importantly, many of them believe in liberty. And when you've got the government, you know, which I think, you know, no one disagrees with the fact that it's good to you know, go after and watch terrorists. But when you have them going after ordinary Americans, as was reported, that's where it rubbed people the wrong way. And then when it affects the pocketbook, like you're saying, enough is enough.
I got about 25 seconds here. We're talking about Silicon Valley here. Are there really enough people here? Are we talking about a large enough voting bloc here that it could turn an election in some way?
Well, I think what it can do is it can open pocketbooks, and there's a lot of money there. And so, you know, and in California, as we know, where I am, you know, you've got tremendous wealth, and you have tremendous individuals that run very large companies on the tech side who can influence those individuals to vote. So, and they also have big followings. You know, many of these tech leaders are looked up to by entrepreneurs today, and especially young people on the millennial side. So they have a lot of relevance, and they can, I think, at the margins influence elections, certainly on the money side, and certainly with specific races.
Show me the money. It's what we always hear, and it always works no matter what we talk about. Eric Schiffer, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ed. Take care.
You do that as well. Conservatarianism. After the break, the discourse over prison executions takes another dark turn. It's the focus of News Call right here on MidPoint.